How's it going, lads and ladies? It is Petrifying Pumpkins here, and I am back to talk about PSVR2 on the latest episode of Touching Tips, which is our PSVR2 podcast that I do with Muzz and Mr. Jackboss. I completely forgot to bring up this super important update that happened in the last month. As you can see in the background, this is from pushsquare.com by Sammy Barker. So he's put up this article covering this change in CEOs, which is interesting because Herman Hulst is no longer PlayStation co-CEO. As you can see, I'm reading this off the screen. You can read it too. We can read it together. But he's still in charge of first party. So instead, this gentleman over here on the right, Hideaki Nishino, if I'm saying that correctly, he was co-CEO. Now he's the boss. He's jumped over Herman, and now he's over him in the food chain. And of course, it's not really hard to understand why this is happening, even though it wasn't long ago. In fact, I think it was, I have highlighted, I can't remember, it was like less than a year that these two actually started this co-CEO thing. But things at Sony behind the scenes, forget PSVR2, but just in PlayStation in general, the first party studio management has been fairly horrific. The whole live service thing, now I'm not going to blame Herman Hulst on this live service thing. I think maybe Jim Ryan might be the one, and even then I'm not 100% sure who exactly is to blame. Maybe Herman was pushing for it too, I don't know, but we know that the shift for this live service push they were doing, we know that direction. They've shifted that direction. They're cancelling these first party things, these live service things. We know about the Blue Point game cancelled. It was a God of War live service. They've scrapped that. They've scrapped London Studio. They shut them down. They were working on live service. I mean, I could list them all, but the only one that seems to be doing well for them is Helldivers. So I'm not going to say they're going to cancel all of them, because Helldivers still did very well for them. But the point is, Sony are doing some course correction behind the scenes, trying to get PlayStation back on the path it was at in the PS4 days, which is, in my opinion, the glory days of PlayStation. And then what they should have done is just left Shuhei Yoshida where he was, in my opinion. Anyway, he's gone now, so we can't do that. So what makes this interesting for us, potentially, don't get your hopes up too high now, this is just potentially, but this Hideaki Nishino, back when PSVR2 was being talked about, revealed when they were doing the break apart video, this is all Hideaki Nishino. He was a big driving force behind PSVR2, a big believer in that. So he was the man we were looking to get PSVR2 on PS5, and it happened, so we got him to thank for PSVR2. On the other hand, Herman Hulst has shown no love that I can see. Obviously, I'm not privy to behind the scene information. Maybe he's the reason Horizon Call of the Mountain happened, but maybe, maybe that should have been Last of Us. Maybe it shouldn't have been Horizon. I don't know. But my point is, Nishino, at least he is seen as someone who believes in PSVR2, and Hulst is someone maybe who hasn't. He hasn't really been providing for us, in my opinion. But just do keep in mind not to get too excited about this, because again, as it says in the title, even though he's no longer co-CEO, he is still in charge of first party. So I'm just going to go through this article. I've highlighted this stuff that I think is pertinent to PSVR2. So let's go. So ex-Guerrilla Games Managing Director Herman Hulst was appointed as co-CEO alongside Platform Business Group bigwig Hideaki Nishino following the departure of Jim Ryan. So the pair's tenure officially started on the 1st of June 2024. So that's only 7-8 months ago, something like that. They're already having to readjust because obviously it's not working. So he says, I want to thank Herman for his expertise and leadership as he continues his role as CEO Studio Business Group. And Studio Business Group, if you don't know what that means, they're talking about first party, they're talking about PlayStation Productions, the movie wing as well. So Herman Hulst is still over those studios. So, don't go expecting Astrobot or The Last of Us or God of War and VR just because this change has happened. If anything, it's business as usual. As mentioned above, Hulst will continue to lead PlayStation's first party, so this reorganization doesn't change an enormous amount for the day-to-day running of the organization. We'll skip down a little bit more. That risk is now gone. However, while Hulst and Nishino will continue to work closely, it's the latter who will have the final say. So, again, keeping in mind, this is not necessarily about first party. However, Nishino, and we'll get down to it later on, but Nishino is kind of over hardware, accessories. He's also over third party. That is important to remember. We'll keep going. All of these changes will be in effect from the 1st of April 2025, April Fool's Day. Why is this changing? Blah, blah, blah. So while this seems like a seismic change to PlayStation's hierarchy, the reality is that both Hulst and Nishino have talked about spending up to 80% of their time focused on their respective roles. For Nishino, that's the Platform Business Group, which oversees hardware, accessories, PSN, and third-party relations. This is important too. I should have highlighted this. Third-party relations is important. All right, because we're talking about Capcom, Resident Evil. We're talking about Hitman, IO Interactive. He could be behind the scenes pulling the strings there, and if he's gaining more power, and we'll get to this. For Hulst, that's the Studio Business Group, which includes first-party games and other internal initiatives like PlayStation Productions. Under this new structure, neither executive's roles and responsibilities will change. The big alteration is that Totoki is moving up in the chain to CEO of Sony Group. This means he'll no longer be involved in the day-to-day running. It's likely then that Nishino will take on some of Totoki's responsibilities while Hulst continues to focus all his attention on first-party games. And we'll just read this last part here to get it out of the way. What does this new leadership mean for PlayStation? For the average consumer, it's business as usual. While the hierarchy has been tweaked, Hulst is still very much focused on first party, while Nishino continues to oversee other areas of the business. Even though they're no longer co-CEOs, they will still have an extremely close working relationship. Okay, just wanted to get them facts out of the way before I start to put my own spin on it. What I think this means is, obviously, Nishino, he's ahead of Hulst now, so whereas before, Nishino might have been saying something like, hey, we need to put some money into third party to get some PlayStation viewer titles over here. I've got Hitman, I've got Resident Evil 4, I got Resident Evil 8, but maybe I want to get, I don't know, pick any game from third party. What would be a good fit? Let's go crazy and say GTA 5 or GTA 6. Let's say he wants, like, we should approach Rockstar, we should get that money to them. As co-CEOs, Hulst might be like, whoa, hold on a sec. PSVR2 has only got like less than 2 million users. I don't know, I'm just putting that out there. We'll say around 2 million. That's not worth it. I'm going to fight you over this because we're co-CEOs, and who wins then? I don't know. And again, this is me not knowing anything. Maybe it doesn't go like that at all. Maybe I'm talking absolute shit. Keep that in mind. However, the way it is now, if Nishino really wants it, he can, he overrides Hulst now. So he gets the final say, and, we've not known Hulst to be pushing for PSVR2. We have known Nishino to be pushing for PSVR2, at least at some stage. So that has to be good or better for PSVR2. It can't hurt PSVR2, I don't think. However, I think PlayStation first party is in such a bad place, with Concord losing hundreds of millions, with cancelling 5, 6, 7 live action or live service games. They're really in the fucking hole right now over at PlayStation, and they really need to turn the ship around. And what they know how to do that, the way they know how to do that, is by returning to games like Intergalactic from Naughty Dog, that AAA first party flat game that's been successful for them. Maybe now is the time more than ever that they can't afford to do stuff like dipping their feet into PSVR2, trying to make big deals with Rockstar. And again, Rockstar is just an example, like an extreme example. They're the unicorn, we get Rockstar, we've won. Other deals like, IO Interactive, those types of AAA third-party games coming to PSVR2. And look at fucking Civilization. That's a great example because it's just been announced for Quest. So yes, while I think Hideaki Nishino being CEO over Hulst, him having that having the authority or the final say over him, I think that's better for PSVR2 than if it was the other way around. The other hand of that, or the other side of the coin, is that Sony are first party, and I'm not saying they're struggling, they're not going to be broke anytime soon. They're still making billions just sitting back watching Fortnite skins getting paid for a V-Bucks and all that shit. But they're going to be the way the situation they're in now is more tentative, it's more precarious, I would say, because they've lost. The shareholders are not going to be happy with what's been going on at Sony first party. They should be the PS5 generation just feels like a banana skin. If Xbox wasn't so fucking shit, this would have been the chance for Xbox to take over. If Xbox had kept going the way they were with not putting their exclusives on other games and stuff like that, this is where I would be getting concerned that PlayStation would be losing ground to Xbox. But luckily for Sony, Xbox are basically out of third party now. They're not really competing with them anymore. And this is the negative side of that, because when we see that they don't have anyone to compete with, like a whole generation can be squandered, basically, which is what we've seen with PS5 so far. And maybe squander is too extreme. But yeah, that hurts PSVR2, I think, because, you know, less revenue, less money to play with innovation in VR, taking risks, gambling, which is what VR is. When you've only got 2 million users, you're gambling anytime you spend money on that thing. So again, I'm not expecting this to change anything in a big way in terms of first party, because Hulst is still there, so I don't see what should have happened, obviously, which I've been saying from day one. There should have been Last of Us VR, not just Horizon, not just Gran Turismo. There needed to be God of War, Last of Us, War Thunder, you know, Twisted Metal. All these games should have had a VR mode, or been re-released with VR, or had VR dedicated games, or hybrid, whatever. Obviously hybrid is the ideal scenario, but with Hideaki Nishino moving up and him being over third party, maybe we'll see more Hitman style deals. Maybe. That is my hope. So there is, overall, I think a little bit positive. I think it's not a bad move for PSVR2 is what I'm trying to say. Do keep in mind that these changes will not take effect until April. So we're still a few months away from this happening, and let's say he does all of a sudden want to do these third party deals. You know, this is like the changes he makes, we might not see the ripples of for years to come, if he does even shake things up for PSVR2. I mean, it's all wait and see. Anyway, that is it for this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What are your thoughts on Herman Hulst as a whole? I find him very difficult to get a read on. Like, when it came to Shuhei Yoshida, I knew I loved Shuhei, what he was doing. With Herman Hulst, it's hard to know where the bad decisions were with Jim Ryan, or how many of them did he continue, or is he the one trying to correct the ship, you know, with cancelling all these live services, which I think is a good idea for the most part, except for The Last of Us Online. They shouldn't have cancelled that. Anyway, I'm waffling now. Let me know your thoughts on Hulst dropping down a little bit, and Nishino stepping up. Do you think this will make any change at all? Is it too late at this point in the game, or should we hold out a little bit of hope? You know, we'll wait and see. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Before I go though, let me thank my channel members whose names are on screen as I speak. They are the following: Muzz Vior, No One Knows, Plank71, Esports Commentator for Hire, Deej the Pumpkin Patch Kid, Pete Hawkins, Crumb, Edify Till I Die, Aced, Geza, Deadeye Dan, Chopped PPE, Minus, and Mr. 777. Thank you very much for that support, lads. It is greatly appreciated. And thank you to Decepticon for letting me use your music in all of my videos. You can find him at decepticon.com, link in the description, but he's on Spotify, he's in Bandcamp, he's on all those places, and he has a new album coming out soon as well, I think. So anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Let me see your comments in the comment section, funnily enough, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Stay moist.